and in today's video we're going to discuss what is empirical and molecular formula. Empirical formula is a kind of formula which just shows the simplest ratio in which atoms are combined to form compound or molecules. It just shows us the type of atom that combine and the simplest ratio of each type. Let's take an example of water. In empirical formula, water is written as HO instead of H2O. Here, as I said, we can see the two things. One is the type of atom, which is hydrogen and oxygen. Next is the simplest ratio. From H2O, it is forming HO. But molecular formula just shows the actual number of atoms that combine to form a molecule or a compound. This shows the type of atom and how much of each type is present. This doesn't show the simplest ratio. This shows how much of each is being present. We'll take the same water. Water in molecular formula is written as H2O, where we can find that there are two H and one O, two hydrogen which combines with one oxygen. Let's take another example of hydrazine, which is made up of nitrogen and hydrogen. So it has the formula N2H4. N2H4 is the molecular formula. In empirical formula, it's NH2. You may think how we got this 2. In some cases, we have this. We just said the statement first as simplest ratio. So we'll first see the ratio of this. It's N2H4, so it will be 2:4. So 2 combines with 4 of some kind of atoms. So it has a simplification of 1:2. So nitrogen will be 1 and hydrogen will be 2. So NH2. We'll see how to calculate the empirical formula. So you need to know the percentage of the particular kind of atom. So what you'll do is, you'll have the percentage of the particular kind of atom, which you'll divide by the relative atomic mass. Remember, it is the relative atomic mass. You have to take the mass number and not the atomic number. If it's nitrogen, you have to take 14 and not 7. And you get the values. For nitrogen, you'll get one value in hydrogen, and for hydrogen, you'll get one value. You have both in your side. You have to see the smallest value and divide both the values by the same. For example, for nitrogen, we are getting 6.24, and for hydrogen, you are getting 12.24. So you have to divide 6.24 by 6.24 and 12.24 by 6.24. So at last the ratio should be 1:2, which will show your formula is right. Next we'll deal with molecular formula. So molecular formula is equal to empirical into N. So we have this empirical formula and you have to do into N if you have the empirical formula. But in cases when you don't have the empirical formula, let's take this. First, you know the atom present in that particular compound or molecule. What you do is, you'll have the atom and you'll take its relative atomic mass or mass number and multiply it with the number of atoms. So in hydrogen, we have N2H4. So nitrogen is 2 atoms present, and in hydrogen we have 4 atoms present. So in nitrogen, the mass number is 14 into 2, and plus in hydrogen we have 4 and the mass number is 1, so 1 into 4. So 14 into 2 plus 1 into 4, which will give us 32, which is the molecular mass of that. How to calculate the molecular formula? You'll have this formula being used. So you have to remember one thing: we take ratios to simplify an empirical formula. When we have an atom which is like H2O2, the 2:2 will become 1. So it will become HO in empirical and H2O2 in formula, a molecular formula. But if it goes beyond, you have to take the ratio of how much it is present, and then you have to simplify it, which will be the empirical, and the not simplified values will be the molecular. You can use the same